Good morning to all. Myself Shreya-moon, and let's continue on our previous topic of the science, which was the food. In my previous video of this topic, we had stopped at the fats, right? And sorry about that. At that time, I was not able to show you the taste of the fat. But let's see over here. Let's see it in this video. Let's start with that. So how could you test a fat? For that, you have to just take a paper, like I am going to show you that one. So I have taken a paper, and as you all know that the butter, the ghee, all of these oils, butter and ghee, all of this contains the fat. Let's see how to test that, right? So for that, you have to just take that food sample which you have to test and then rub it on this paper. As you know that the paper is almost opaque, right? Opaque in which it is a material from which the light couldn't pass, or from which we couldn't see through it, right? So what will happen? What you have to observe? You have to drop that food sample on the paper, and then you have to observe that if the paper become translucent, that means a little visible. So that means that food sample has got fat in it. Let's see. So let me take a butter as a food sample. So I have a piece of a butter, and now I'm going to rub this out on this paper. Let's see. So let me rub this. So I had rubbed a little butter on this paper, and now is this paper become a little translucent, or we can see through it? It is a little visible through it, right? You can see this out. You can compare these two portions. This portion over here, and this portion over here, right? Or you can see that it is little visible. That means that butter has some fat in it, right? Now let me put this paper on. And now let's talk about the third building block, or the third major nutrient, right? In my previous video we had learned some of the nutrients, so some nutrients, right? Which was the carbohydrate, fat, protein, vitamin and minerals. In that I had told you that these fat, carbohydrate and protein are the major nutrients, and this vitamin and mineral, these vitamin and minerals are needed by our body in a little amount, or it is a minor nutrient, right? So in my previous video we had talked about the fat and the carbohydrate, right? In this video we are going to talk about the proteins and the vitamin and minerals. So let's start with the protein. As you all know, what are the functions of the protein? The function of the protein, the two main function of the protein is to maintain our body, or to maintain, or you can say as repairing our body, and it also helps us to grow, right? That's why when we are a small child, as now, our mother says to drink a lot of milk, right? For getting protein. So how could you test the protein? What is the test of a protein? How could you say that this food contains protein? Definitely. Let's see. So for testing the protein, we do a biuret test. What is that? Let me tell you. So for testing the protein, we have to do a biuret test. And for that, what you have to do, what is the procedure? The materials which you required is the biuret solution and that food sample and a dropper, right? What is a biuret solution? This biuret solution which I am talking to you is is a solution of the two chemicals. The biuret solution, let me write down over here. The biuret solution contains two chemicals, right? Which is sodium hydroxide and copper sulfate. So we need two chemicals which is the sodium hydroxide and the copper sulfate. Mix a little amount of water and you will get a biuret solution. Then with the help of the dropper, you have to take some drops of that solution and then put that drop to the food item, the food sample. You have to observe that if that food sample turns to the purple color, if that food sample turns to the purple color, then that food has protein, right? So if you got two food samples, you can also compare that. The darker purple color is that the darker purple color indicates you that that food sample has got more protein, and the lighter purple color indicates you that that food sample get less protein, right? Let me tell you with an example. Let's say I have a A food sample and a B food sample. A food sample and B food sample. See, I had taken a two food samples over here. Now, I want to test that these two of them got protein or not. These two of them contains protein in it or not. So what I'm going to do? The biuret test. For that I will record the two chemicals which are the sodium hydroxide and the copper sulfate. Then I have to put these two. I have to make these. I have to put these together with the water also, adding some amount of water, and then I will got a biuret solution. And then I have to add some dropperfuls of that to the food sample. So what I noticed that if I add some drops to this food sample A and some drops to this food sample B, so what does happen that this B food sample shows a darker purple color. This food sample, this B, shows a darker purple color. But this food sample A shows the lighter purple color. So can I say something about that? Can I say that this food sample, the B food sample, has more protein than this A food sample? Yes? Right. Because the darker purple color is that indicates that that food sample has more protein, more amount of the protein, right? So you can also compare the amount of protein, and you can also test. I think you are clear with this test, biuret test. I think you're clear with that. Now, till now we had tested the proteins, fats and carbohydrate. And I think protein is also clear to you. Why is it used? It is important to us because it repairs our tissues. Right? So let's say an example, like your bone is broken. Say that imagine that, right? Your bone is broken. So then the doctor will recommend you that you should eat a more amount of protein. Why is that? Because this protein help the bone to repair, right? To get into the right form, right? And then, as you know, it also helps us in the growth. What if you will not consume a right amount of protein? What will happen? Yes, you will stop growing or your growth will be slowed down. Why is that? Because protein is also important for the growth of our body, right? So we have learned that the protein is important for repairing or maintaining our body and for the growth of our body. And we had also learned how to test that this food item contains protein, or we had learned the test of proteins, right? Now let's move on to the vitamins and the minerals, or we can say the minor nutrients, or not the major one. Let's move on to that vitamin and minerals. Let's see. So let me rub this out. So let's see the vitamins and minerals. So let's see the sources of these vitamins and minerals. So let me tell you that all the food contains a little amount of the vitamin and minerals, or vitamin or minerals. It could be that some food contains only vitamins or some food contains only minerals, right? So it could be something like that. But all food contains or has got a little amount of vitamin and minerals. Then, what is a big difference about this? What is the difference about this vitamin and minerals? The difference between the vitamin and minerals? The main difference is that the minerals is inorganic. And this vitamin is organic. Now what do I mean by inorganic and organic? So what is the difference between the inorganic and organic? This inorganic this inorganic materials do not contains the carbon in it. But these organic usually contains carbon, right? It usually contains carbon, but this inorganic doesn't contains carbon in it. So I think this is clear to you. What is the main difference? The main difference is that minerals is an inorganic compound and the vitamins are the organic compound, right? Let's move on. Let's talk about the minerals first. Now let's start talking with the minerals. Now you will surprised to know that there are so many minerals. I am going to tell you the 7 of them, right? Let's see. So there are Let's see. So firstly, I think you'll definitely know about that. The calcium. Then there is phosphorus. Then there is the iodine. Then iron. Then potassium. Magnesium. At the last there is one more mineral known as zinc. So how many I had told you these much? 7 minerals. Let's see these. So first is the calcium, then the phosphorus, then the iodine, iron, potassium, magnesium and the zinc. Let's talk about these one by one. We're going to talk about the 4 of them. And the 3 of them, as you can see, the potassium, magnesium and the zinc, we will talk in our next grade, because this 4 of them is just enough for our grade, right? So let's start talking about these 4 of them: calcium, phosphorus, iodine and iron. Firstly, let's start with the calcium. I think you already know we find calcium in the milk and the milk products, right? And also we find some calcium in the eggs. Now this calcium, why is it required to us? It is required for building our bones and our teeth, right? I think once in your life your mother had just scolded you about this. Drink so lot of the milk for this calcium. Your teeth and your bones will be healthy, right? Now this calcium helps our bone and teeth. This calcium gives strength to our bone and teeth and also hardens that or make the bone and teeth stronger. What if you don't consume calcium in a right amount? Your bone will be weak and it could be bent or broken down easily, right? Because your bone is not hardened, or your bone is not hard. That means that it could be broken down or it could bend easily, right? Let's move on to the next mineral, which is the phosphorus. Now the phosphorus is likely to be a calcium, and it also helps in other body functions. Let me tell you. So this phosphorus is found in the meat and also a little amount of that in the milk. This phosphorus is found in the meat and the milk. Then this calcium is found in the milk and its product, milk product or the dairy product, right? Dairy product. Now this phosphorus is likely to be a calcium. Why I am saying that? Because this phosphorus also helps the calcium. It also helps to the bone and teeth to be healthy. And this phosphorus also helps in building of the bones and teeth, right? Talking about the iodine, our next mineral, iodine. This iodine is important because it is important because it synthesizes or it synthesizes to make a very special hormone in our body known as thyroxine. How this thyroxine is made? I think you have ever heard the name of the thyroid gland, right? It is present in our front of the windpipe. in our neck, right? Exact over here. Now this thyroid gland, this thyroid gland builds or produces some hormones known as the thyroxine, and here the iodine is required. Now this thyroxine, what does it do? It controls the metabolism of our body. What is that metabolism? So that is the functions of our cells, right? Cells, not cells, cells. Now this, this iodine is important, I told you, because for building the the thyroxine, the hormone known as the thyroxine. Now the metabolism, I was talking about the metabolism. So metabolism is the functions of the cells, right? How now this the thyroxine controls that how much energy should our cells consume and what function should our cells do, right? So that's where the iodine's role come in. Now this iodine is mainly found in the salt. I think you had learned that before this, because I think you must have heard about that salt contains the iodine. The salt, you can learn that the sea vegetables also have some iodine. You can learn this easily. The water produces the water carries the salt. Yes, the water carries the salt, and regarding that you can also learn that the sea vegetable, water related vegetable, right? So the sea vegetable, like for example, let's say, let me think about that, kelp. Kelp will be the good example, or you have to just learn that sea or water vegetables. Then let's talk about the iron. Of course, I think you had heard about this iron. This is an important component of a molecule in our molecule, which the molecule named as hemoglobin, which is found in our red blood cells. What is this hemoglobin? It is a molecule present in our red blood cells. And this hemoglobin is why your blood is red, right? Now what if there will be less hemoglobin? Now if there is less hemoglobin, your skin will look something like yellowish or pale, right? And as you know, why is this hemoglobin important? What is the main function of this molecule? This hemoglobin carries the oxygen from our lungs throughout our body. I think we had learned this in our respiratory system when we was talking about the respiratory system, right? In that we had learned that our blood carries the oxygen and the carbon dioxide from the lungs or to the lungs throughout our body, right? So in the blood cells, there are some hemoglobin. There are the hemoglobin, which is the molecule I had told you, that carries the oxygen, right? So I think this iron is also clear to you. Now I think these all minerals is clear to you. Now let's see more about this iron. What if you will not consume iron in a right amount? What will happen? If you will not consume the iron, there will be less production of the hemoglobin. The hemoglobin will be less. And because of that, what will happen? Your skin will look pale, yellowish, and you will feel tired, right? Why is that? That's because the hemoglobin carries the oxygen throughout our body, and if it is in a lesser amount, then the lesser oxygen will be transported throughout our body. And if the lesser oxygen is moving in our body, throughout our body, that means that eventually or obviously we will feel tired, because oxygen is used by our cells, right, for making the energy, right? So I think I think that minerals is also clear to you, and I think it is about 20 minutes. So I think we should stop over here, right? So in my next video of this topic, we are going to learn about the vitamins, right? So for now, thank you and have a cheerful day ahead. And if you want an improvement in me, so you can just comment it in the comment box. Thank you and have a cheerful day ahead. Thank you.